Alright, what's going on, boys and girls? So this particular video, just the title amuses me. Do not install Ubuntu without watching this. Why Ubuntu is not the best Linux distribution you can install. This is relative to the user, so I already have an issue with this particular fucking video. Something tells me this is going to make me want to bash my head off a wall.
When we talk about installing a Linux distribution on our computer, one of the first that comes to mind is Ubuntu. Coming upon unboxing. This is one of the best known Linux distribution that we can find on the internet. This operating system, developed by Canonical, allows user to find system.
So first off, homie, if you're going to actually do a video, don't run it in a fucking VM. There's always performance issues regardless in a VM. Screen recordings, everything. You're making the performance look bad just simply by doing it from a VM. Like, I'm already going to dislike this video.
That offers a balance between ease of use and the famous Linux philosophy. However, although it is the best known and most used, and it is the one that is most often recommended for all type of users, it is by no means the best. Ubuntu for many years has been.
Again, best is relative to the user. I have an idea. I think there's going to be fanboyism here. I have a better idea. Personalize your distro recommendations to the user's needs, not yours. Novel idea.
In the gateway to world of Linux. We cannot deny it. Linux has always been considered a difficult operating system because while macOS and Windows users are used to using a graphical interface, many of the tasks of the system were carried out from the terminal. The Canonical distribution was one of the first of many to break away from this topic.
You're factually wrong there. Things like Mandrake, Kernel Linux, Canonics, Knoppix. There have been distros that have tried to get away from the reliance on the terminal. As far as it always being a difficult system to install, we do that to ourselves by perpetuating the whole don't copy and paste commands from the terminal. Yet all our command pages and all our help forms and everything else is literally done copying and paste this into the terminal.
Ubuntu is no more difficult to use than Windows or macOS. Although it is different and therefore it is necessary to make ourselves to him. But its popularity has made Canonical overconfident. And not only that, but it has often taken advantages of its dominant position to carry out unethical practices, which have nothing to do with the Linux philosophy. And this has made Ubuntu lose the title of the best Linux distribution.
Again, best is relative to the user, fuckface.
Being able to find other excellent alternatives, superior in every way. Much more faithful to.
Superior in every way, according to you? Or according to the user? I hate people who paint in broad fucking strokes. Generalizations are the stupidest things. Stereotypes, basically, are the stupidest thing. That is exactly what you're doing. You're putting a person, have your opinion, I don't care. But really, at the end of the day, you're making it come across as factual. And that's... factual and opinion are two different things. Might want to check that out.
To what Linux is. 9 months of support for each Ubuntu version. Windows 10 and Ubuntu are updated the same twice a year. But there is a big difference between both operating systems. While each version of Ubuntu 10 has 18 months of support, Ubuntu versions only have 9 months. This means that users who decide to upgrade will have to go through all of them. They will not be able to update, for example, once a year because they will run out of updates, maintenance of security, and
I'm pretty sure the interim releases, the ones between the LTS, the four that are usually between the LTS, are not meant to be run by everyday normal users, first of all. Second of all, it's 9 months of support flat. They don't do 18 months of support on those interim releases anymore. They're literally 9 months. They did away with the year and a half. That's why it's 9 months. So that way they can focus on the 5 years of support that you get with the LTS. Novel.
And that is dangerous. It is true that Ubuntu every 2 years usually releases a extended support version LTS, which allows us to stay in it for 5 years with updates.
And their extended support is after the 5 years, FYI.
And support. If we are going to use Ubuntu, of course we must bet on the LTS. But this forces us to spend 2 years or more without updating the computer.
No. Everyday normal users, yes. Every point release for the newer versions of Ubuntu LTS bring in new updates for hardware. 2004.1, 2040.2, all that stuff brings in updates for newer hardware. And at the end of the day, it's not hard to people are all expecting me to rant and rave, and like, I don't, this is just dumb, uninformed.
Not being able to enjoy the news and improvements in which the company works. Canonical's upgrade model is out of date. The best Linux distribution, Arch for example, user.
Why am I not fucking surprised by that? I run Arch, by the way. And, oh yeah, I actually run Arch, by the way. This is being done on a Salient OS machine, which is an Arch-based distro. Lenovo Legion Wi-Fi 30 running Ubuntu Unity. Their upgrade model is not out of date. It's for a specific type of user. If you want newer hardware, you'll either run the interim releases or you'll install all the stuff that you need to do it yourself. Should they automatically do this for things like new Radeons and all the other stuff, I will actually throw that at AMD. They should be working with people in the Linux sphere, distro makers, so to make sure their hardware works with Linux. End of story. So, can you take your Arch fanboyism, shove it up your ass with your head?
Uses a rolling release update system, thanks to which they can always be up to date without having to change version. But for some unknown reason, Canonical prefers Ubuntu use an Archaic version based update system. Canonical forces you to go through its hop. One of the principles of Linux is freedom. Each user should have control over the system and use it as they want without imposing any obligation on them. However, Canonical has gone out of line on several occasions in this regard. In the past, the company included adware applications alongside the operating system, with which the company earned revenue. This luckily is part of the past. However, recently the company has done it again.
The Ubuntu Amazon lens. For the love of Christ. Can we get over it? Are you going to complain that at one point they had the Ubuntu Music Store, which was 7 digital? Let me guess. The next one's probably going to be the typical thing that everybody else bitches about, but I'll let you talk about it because I already see where this is going and I want to bash my head off a fucking wall because of the same stupid arguments we constantly hear.
And has started to force users to use snap packages when installing certain programs on the system, such as Chromium. This has not only made many users angry, but even other developers such as those responsible for Linux Mint.
Oh, we want to talk about Mint? Okay, let's talk about Mint for a second. You want to talk about a project that leeches off the Big Brother project? There you go. They don't even use their own infrastructure. They use Ubuntu's. Next argument, please. Clem can take his opinions, have them, do your distro how you do. Maybe not actively block how people want to control their system. You know. See, here's the thing. So you want to use Linux Mint and how it pisses off Clem and all the other bullshit. They actively put in a command that blocks you from installing, sudo apt snapd. It wouldn't let you. You had to run this command in order to remove that block. How is that any different than sudo apt remove snapd? It's not.
Have criticized Canonical for this decision and have chosen not to allow the installation of snap packages in their distributions. Although, of course, users can activate this possibility. You will never have the last kernel. You will never see a version of Ubuntu with the latest Linux kernel. If this operating system were rolling release,
and just to continue that whole Linux Mint train of thought there, you can activate a command that will allow it. You can activate a command to remove it too, i.e. snap. Mind blown.
then yes, we could have it. But given Canonical system development model, we will always be a version or two behind the latest version of Linux. And if
that's what the hardware enablement stack's for. That is why they have the point releases every 6 months, give or take, every year, whatever it is. For the LTS versions, these are all Arch fanboy arguments. I love Arch, but you fanboys are fucking morons.
if we use an LTS, then we will end up using a 2, 3 or more year old versions of the kernel.
They use the LTS version of the kernel, which has support. Why? Oh my god, I hate them. It's no different than going in to Manjaro, which is Arch based. They're based on Arch or Arch-like, however you want to call it. And going in and looking at the Manjaro settings manager and it telling you which kernels are recommended. Usually the recommended kernels are not the latest and greatest, dipshit. They're the LTS kernels usually. The only reason you would need the latest and greatest kernels, quote you, as far as that, is if you need a bleeding edge or you have brand new hardware or you're basically a beta tester. That's what you are. You're a fringe case. You don't understand that. I don't get people like you. I really don't. Fringe cases are not the norm. Get out of your fucking bubble and out of the fucking way.
Initially, since Ubuntu LTS usually use extended support versions, there are usually no security problems. However, we will be missing optimizations and improvements in support of the newer hardware. Of course, we will be far from using good Linux. We can install the latest version of the Linux kernel by hand, either by commands or through programs like Yuku.
Good is relative to the fucking user. I've said that a couple of times in this video.
But these versions will not be modified and optimized to work on Ubuntu, nor will they be supported by it. We are missing out on what little good this distro has if we go for this.
You do realize, Arch fanboy, if you pull down the latest fucking kernel for Arch, i.e. the bleeding edge, whatever the current release is, it's not going to be optimized for Arch either. You're pulling down the raw code because that's how Arch works.
Option. Ubuntu is no man's land. Ubuntu is not the lightest and most minimalist Linux that we can find. Nor is it the easiest Linux intended to ease the transition for Windows users. Not optimal to play, your helping community leaves something to be desired at times. And it is not the one that offers the best performance or comes with a greater amount of software. So where is Ubuntu left?
Now it just has the most commercial support. It also has a phone line you can call. It has, total no man's land. Oh, let's see. Most OEMs support it. Hello, Lenovo. Hello, Dell. Hello, System 76. Do I need to have the list keep going on and on and on? This is a fucking stupid list. Like, like I said, if you're the French case for the latest and greatest hardware, Ubuntu is probably not going to be for you.
What makes it stand out today from any other distribution?
And do note the whole it's bloated, it's heavy, yada, it's not a good transition point. How do you know? Are you speaking from experience? Are you speaking from people you've plopped in front of? You're making generalizations and assumptions as facts. I'm just going by what you're saying, and what you're saying is opinion.
Ubuntu can be the middle ground, the balance between all the others and between all its features, but nowadays it stands out above no other than for its popularity and for being the best known. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button. It helps make a good content for you. Other than that, I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace out.
Wow. What's good about it? One word. If you're a general end user, and this is because you, boy, are fringe case, I'm a fringe case, everyone else is a fringe case. Mom and pop end user want a phone number they can call. They want someone they can dial up and call if something breaks, if something doesn't work. It's called support. Brand recognition, which you're saying is popularity, which it is. Brand recognition matters because it matters to companies so we can get to fucking support. That's why things like Dell and Lenovo actually sell Linux machines, specifically Ubuntu. Lenovo, yes, sells Fedora machines. But the fact of the matter is that that brand recognition matters to the overall ecosystem because it brings in more support for more hardware too that it might not have originally worked on. Things like fingerprint scanners and all the other stuff that are actually working in Linux now is because of those OEM deals from the evil Ubuntu that doesn't offer anything. Get your head out of your ass. Look at the ecosystem. Look at what it does. Objectively, take your fanboyism, shove it down your throat, swallow the pride, and understand that every distribution adds something, fits a niche, fits something. And also, like, I'm not like all about high quality presentation here. Like, my presentation is garbage and I'll be the first to admit it. You're going to do a 6-minute video with 3 minutes of what? Sorry, a 9-minute video with 3 minutes of what and 6 minutes of speaking. With 3 minutes of self-promotion. Give me a... Oh, God. So, yeah, short version, that video was crap. That was 100% garbage. Have your opinions, don't care. But having opinions and pointing them out as fact, that's where I have an issue with. If you think Ubuntu's bloated, cool. If you want to support, pushing Arch as the base distro for everybody, that's totally your prerogative. But understand, you are in the minority. because you're not thinking in the lines of a general consumer. And that's what Ubuntu targets. I'm not sure if I'm going to have an ulcer, an aneurysm, or if I just want to go and bash my own head in.